Hey guys, welcome to Y&R Daily Update YouTube channel. Today's topics: was Y&R's Phyllis foolish to trust Victor's intentions? Phyllis's secret deal with Victor blows up in her face. But what was she thinking to partner up with the mustache? On The Young and the Restless, December 16th, Phyllis's plan with Victor doesn't go the way she anticipated. She gave Victor the AI program to use as leverage against Jack. Things didn't turn out as she had thought they would. Key takeaways: Phyllis gave Victor the AI software. She claimed she wasn't aware of his intentions. She was wrong to work with the mustache, who undercut her. Phyllis gets blindsided by Victor Newman once again. Victor Newman Eric Breton remains undefeated. Victor proved he didn't need AI to hurt Jack Peter Bergman. He knew where to hit his enemy where it hurt. Meanwhile, Phyllis Michelle Stafford is aghast over Victor's latest move. She realized that their secret plan fell apart. On Tuesday's episode, Phyllis and Daniel Michael Graziade returned to the coffee house. After the launch party, he remarked that it was quite the party. He wondered what this could mean for Summer, Allison Lanier, if Jabot were to go under. Phyllis claimed that Jabot wasn't dead in the water just yet. Daniel said he contacted Summer and asked her to get back to him when she could. Phyllis admitted that Jack didn't inform her about his plans. What's worse is that she also didn't expect Victor to take him down. Where Phyllis went wrong: Phyllis played with the wrong card. She assumed that Victor would be cautious with the AI program. Later, she showed up at the Newman ranch, pressing Victor for answers. She asked him if he was the one who put out the hit piece on Jabot. Victor admitted that he was just reporting the news. Phyllis wondered if this meant that Jabot was going under. Victor just sat there, looking smug. She reminded him that wasn't the deal they made. She gave him the software so he could give her Jabot, but Victor claimed he had no idea that Jack would pull the plug on Jabot. Phyllis exploded at Victor as she told him that if Jabot goes under, there would be nothing left for her to turn to. She was ridiculous enough to think that Victor would stick to his word. But he's only out for himself. He doesn't care if he takes down those with whom he collaborates. Victor only cares about Victor at the end of the day. Victor only cared about taking down Jack and his company, but he proved that he didn't care about Jabot. He just wanted to get revenge on his enemy for their decades-long feud. Phyllis should have known better than to team up with Victor. In the past, she's been given his word and was left with nothing. Looks like the past is repeating itself, and Phyllis hasn't learned. Something worse will happen this time around. Now, her daughter, Summer, could be left without anything. How will Phyllis fix this problem? Subscribe our channel for more latest update. On The Young and the Restless, trust is rarely a virtue rewarded for longer, especially when Victor Newman is involved. That's what makes Phyllis Summer's decision to place faith in Victor's intentions such a lightning rod moment. To some fans, it looks like a staggering lapse in judgment. To others, it feels like a calculated gamble by a woman who understands power, leverage, and survival better than almost anyone in Genoa City. The truth, as with most things involving Phyllis and Victor, lives in the uneasy gray between foolishness and strategy. Phyllis has never been naive. Her entire history is defined by sharp instincts, emotional intensity, and an unshakable belief that she can read people better than they can read her. That confidence, sometimes bordering on arrogance, has been both her greatest asset and her most consistent downfall. Trusting Victor, therefore, isn't about ignorance of who he is. It's about whether Phyllis believed she could manage him, anticipate his moves, or at least protect herself from the fallout. Victor Newman is not a mystery. He is Genoa City's most transparent enigma, ruthless, controlling, and endlessly convinced that his way is the only way. His alliances are transactional, his generosity temporary, and his loyalty conditional. Yet Victor also has a predictable streak. He respects strength, despises weakness, and occasionally admires those bold enough to stand toe-to-toe with him. Phyllis has always seen herself as one of the few people who can meet Victor on that level. From Phyllis's perspective, trusting Victor may have felt less like blind faith and more like strategic realism. In a town where power dictates outcomes, Victor remains the ultimate king. Aligning with him can open doors that would otherwise remain sealed shut. Phyllis has survived too much to pretend moral purity matters more than results. If Victor offered a path forward professionally, personally, or tactically, Phyllis would naturally weigh the benefits against the risks rather than dismiss the offer outright. Still, history casts a long shadow over that choice. Victor has repeatedly proven that he does not share power, he uses it. Anyone who enters his orbit becomes a tool, a pawn, or an obstacle. Phyllis knows this. She has watched Victor manipulate family members, destroy enemies, and rewrite narratives to suit his needs. Trusting his intentions requires believing that this time would be different, or that she could stay one step ahead of him. That belief may be where foolishness creeps in. Phyllis, confidence in her own perception often blinds her to one crucial truth. Victor rarely needs someone's trust to win, he only needs their participation. The moment Phyllis agreed to engage on his terms, she ceded control, even if she believed she was using Victor just as much as he was using her. The power imbalance was always real. Victor plays a long game, one that unfolds over months or years, while Phyllis tends to act from urgency and emotion. That difference alone puts her at a disadvantage. Emotion is the wild card here. Phyllis is at her most vulnerable when her pride, fear, or desire for validation is triggered. Victor is exceptionally skilled at identifying those pressure points. If he framed his intentions in a way that appealed to Phyllis' sense of being underestimated or sidelined, her defenses would naturally lower. Trust, in that case, wouldn't stem from belief in Victor's goodness but from belief in her self-belief that she could out him, but believing, you're smarter than Victor Newman has undone far more seasoned players. At the same time, calling Phyllis foolish risks oversimplifying the narrative. In Genoa City, refusing to engage with Victor can be just as dangerous as trusting him. Isolation is weakness. And Phyllis has learned that survival often requires choosing the least destructive option rather than the morally clean one. If Victor positioned himself as the lesser evil or the only viable lifeless choice becomes understandable, even if it's doomed. There's also the meta layer to consider. Phyllis' trust in Victor serves the story. It reinforces her tragic flaw, her inability to resist high-stakes gambles. Viewers don't tune in to watch Phyllis make safe, cautious decisions. They watch her because she leaps when others hesitate, because she believes risk is preferable to arrest. Trusting Victor fits that pattern perfectly. Victor, meanwhile, benefits from the illusion of partnership. When someone like Phyllis believes she's operating as an equal, Victor gains plausible deniability. If things go wrong, he can frame the outcome as mutual failure rather than calculated betrayal. If things go right, he claims credit. Either way, he wins. So was Phyllis foolish? In the strictest sense, yes, because trusting Victor Newman's intentions has never ended well for anyone who wasn't named Newman. Phyllis had ample evidence, decades worth, that Victor's promises are provisional at best. Expecting him to prioritize her interests alongside his own was a miscalculation, but foolishness implies ignorance, and Phyllis is anything but ignorant. Her decision was bold, risky, and likely misguided, but it was also consistent with who she is. She trusted not because she believed Victor would change, but because she believed she could survive whatever came next. That belief may cost her dearly, yet it's also the belief that has kept Phyllis Summers standing when others have fallen. On The Young and the Restless, survival often matters more than being right. Phyllis may regret trusting Victor, but she never regret taking the chance.